Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Today we're going to talk about how to build an AoE nuker, right? Is it better to build them with flawless execution, getting that extra crit damage, and stacking as much crit damage as you can on that champion to do just the maximum amount of, exponential damage, providing you have 100% crit rate? Or is it better to build them in a Savage set? We're talking both for Dungeons and Arena in today's video. Put them in Savage and or Cruel gear, put them in the Helmsmasher Mastery. Is there a big difference between the two? So today we're just going to go ahead and experiment. I honestly don't know the answer. My gut tells me going with Savage gear, maybe Cruel gear, and going with Helmsmasher is going to be a little bit better, but we're going to experiment. That's the point of today's video. So let's see. I'm going to go with one of the best nukers in the game, and we're going to put him in some of my better gear on the account as well. Today is just, it's not meant to highlight these champions. This is really meant to answer the question of putting great gear on a champion, putting average gear on a champion, as long as the stats are pretty similar other than the crit damage and the ignore defense, what performs better, okay? And then you can apply that to, any other champion that you want to be an AoE nuker. So Biggin's stats right now on, part A of this video, the first half, is going to be with 4,500 attack, where you start to see diminished returns around 4,500 on the attack. So he's good on his attack stat. Crit rate is a little bit low at 86. We'll just kind of note that as we go through these battles. His crit damage is very high, right? 326% crit damage. So I basically stacked as much crit damage as I can on this champion to see what kind of results we get. I also have, you'll see, from masteries plus 30%. Again, as I mentioned earlier, that is with the flawless execution plus 20% crit damage, and obviously with keen strike as well. So that's what we have on this champion. We went defense tree too, just to have the retribution and the cycle of vengeance. But that's really, it doesn't really matter for the purposes of this video. So I have crit damage gauntlets on him, I have attack percentage on his chest, and I have some speed on the boots, and then just crit damage, crit damage, crit damage in terms of the stats that I'm looking for in crit rate. You can see crit damage, and accuracy are the sets that I have him in right now. So let's run them through campaign, dragon, and arena. I found a good arena team, so we'll do that first. I found this team right here, who I don't think I'll be able to one-shot at the bottom against Zinnik. So I can just kind of use the same team, cycle through, and see how much damage we do comparatively. So a nice, strong, defensive, robust team that we're facing here will obviously go first, and then I want to debuff them and see how much damage both of his abilities do to kind of give us a barometer to kind of move forward from. So here he goes. Let's start with his A2, the forward charge. It does hit stronger than his A3, but his A3 is a 2-time hitter. So forward charge is going to be doing, oh wow, a lot of damage, around 50k or so. Let me get out of here. On average, depends, because these champions obviously are stacked in defense. You guys can rewind. I can't. I actually missed. That went by so fast that I missed a lot of the damage there. So almost killed everybody except for Siffy there. Let's try it again with this A3. I'm going to go in single time speed so I can better see the numbers as well. So again, we'll start off there. But this is with all that crit damage, man. You can see how hard he is hitting there. Very, very hard. It's going to be tough to beat with the Savage gear. And it'll be interesting, right? Maybe he won't be, maybe he'll be better in some areas and worse in others. So here we go, like 15 to 35-ish K, depending on the opponent's defense. So not bad. I'm gonna actually write that down because God knows I'll forget. All right, guys, let's try one more time real quick here. I'm just gonna make sure I write these numbers down so I don't forget them. We'll try with this A1. And again, if this is only one run, so obviously I'm aware that the sample size is going to be an issue here, but I'm hoping that the numbers will just jump out at me in terms of, okay, one's substantially better than the other when all said and done here. So let's go with the A1. We will attack anybody but Siffy here, so let's just go after Miscreated Monster. And the first hit, 55k to 60k. That was a lot, man. So his A1 there was just around like 50k average, I would say. God. All right, let's go ahead and try him in. I want to make sure we don't kill that Siffy there. We got by without killing that team. That guy's going to be like, dude, this dude must be so frustrated not beating me. Thinking I'm just losing again and again and again to him purposely, or not purposely in the arena. So let's go Dragons 20 here. I have him built in this like special team to give all the debuffs and the buffs that we want. We're not even going to go ahead and beat Dragon, but we get the weaken, we get the decreased defense, and we get the increased crit damage on us. So we're going to give the best that we've got here. Let's just go ahead and cycle through these A1s here, and then Biggin will be next to go. Let's start with his A1 this time. We're hitting at around 50 to 60k or so. Let's go ahead and reset. So A1, 50 to 60K. A2, let's replay that. Let me know if you find these videos helpful, by the way, guys, or if you don't really care for them, or, you know, I find them helpful myself because then I'll know how to build my nukers, you know, or at least I'll have more kind of anecdotal information to base it on. So again, let's try his A2 here. His A2 is hitting for around 70 to 80K. 70 to 80K. He's hitting pretty hard here, guys. It's going to be tough to beat these numbers. Let's go one more time and try his A3 and see what we can do in just campaign run real quick to try to get, that might be the best place to kind of test him as well. Just so the parameters, I'm trying to make sure the parameters are even no matter where we're going here, whether it's that same team in the arena, the same kind of first wave here in Dragons or in campaign. So the A3, let's take it single time. We're hitting for around 36 to 50K, I would say. 36 to 50K. We'll just say 35 to K. And remember, some of these might not be critting. He has like a, 80% crit rate or something like that. So let's go ahead and leave that battle and then do campaign, then switch up all his gear. Probably take me an hour to do, take you guys instant. You'll see the instant results, and we'll go ahead from there. So let's go Brimstone Path. Let's just go with the stage 3, put him in here and just see how he does. He'll use all his abilities. So let's just take it one at a time. So 40 to 50K, I think it's safe to say. I'm just going to cycle through A1 again. So A1 was 40 to 50K. A2 is going to be 55 to 65K. And A3 is going to be 29 to 35 around. So he actually gets the most damage overall off of his A3 because it's a 2-hitter. Didn't even have to 2-hit them there in that one. So guys, that is, I think, a pretty thorough like expectation, a level setting again on what his damage is doing with all that crit damage. Now I'm going to switch up the entire champion. I'll show you what I've come up with in just a second. All right, guys, so we are back. This is actually a faster version of Biggin here, and we have the Savage set on him. So it ignores 25% of enemy defense. And then we have the Mastery Helmsmasher, which has a 50% chance of ignoring 25% of the target's defense as well. So we have a chance of ignoring 50% of all of the defense every single hit. So let's see how he does now. In terms of his total stats, I couldn't get his crit rate as high as I wanted to. At 69, it is a bit low, 70% essentially. But at the end of the day, I do believe we'll still get a good indicator. Again, it was, what, 76 last time, so I apologize for that. Again, his speed is a little bit higher. His attack is just a little bit less. And then his everything else is pretty much the same. His crit damage obviously is way less at 265. So let's see how he is with this kind of a setup instead. Let's start again in the arena. And his crit damage, what did it go down, like 70 or so %? That's a lot, you know. It's still high, but that's a lot. So let's go and see how he does on this same team here in the arena. Then we'll try him out again in Dragon, and we'll try him out in campaign. So we're going to start with the A1 again, and last time it did around 50K average. So let's see if it, I mean, if we just kill the whole team on any of these, we'll know that it's clearly better, and it will also ruin our experiment. So A1, attack miscreated monster again and see how we do. So 50 to 60K, so that was actually higher. 50 to, I think it was like 48K or something, but that was actually more damage than he did last time. Let's go on to the next one. Let's use his A2. His A2 was around 40K average. This one, out of the 3 areas that we're testing, Arena, is probably the most arbitrary in terms of the results. You can't read, 100% into these, but I still find it helpful because my hunch is that Ignore Defense is better in the Arena than it is in Dungeons, but we will see, right? Time will tell. So again, landing these debuffs, and let's go into his A2. Again, it was around 40K last time, so let's go in here. And we're doing 90K, but we're getting some weak hits. Huh. That's interesting, right? Do you guys, let me try that one more time. Just because obviously, you know, 69% crit rate, but he can't be landing. What are the odds? I guess it's possible, but that we get 3 weak hits there. Let's try one more time. I just don't want to screw it up because of that crit rate. I want to make sure, because that was a ton of damage that he did, but I'm not sure about those weak hits either. Let's try this again. So let's go single time speed and go in again here. He's hitting 65, so 40 to 70K. I don't know. Very tough to tell. Very tough to tell. You guys, again, feel free to rewind and take a look. It does feel like he's maybe a little bit weaker so far. I don't know. His crits are a little bit higher, but overall, he was killing everybody every time except for Siffy, so take that into account as well, and he hasn't done that yet. Let's try again on the A3 and then take him into the dungeon and see what he does there. So again, decrease defense, and here's his A3. He'll go in here. So 40 to, around like 30 to 15 to 40K. I felt like he was in the same kind of neighborhood on his previous run. So let's go ahead and finally put this team out of their misery here. Go on auto. Finally conquer this team in the arena. Ooh, man, doesn't it seem like they go so slow motion when you're so used to double time speed when you put it single time speed? Good God. That was his A2, 32K as well. All right, let's go to somewhere where we can actually get a little bit more tangible results here. All right, so into Dragon's Lair here, guys. I think the speed is still going to be just fine. So we'll go with Tornado again. We'll just hit this guy over here. Let's see how much he does on the A1 here. So 50 to 65K, that's right where he was, pretty much. 50 to 65K on the other build. So I don't really notice a big difference there. Let's go on to his A2. I'm really not noticing a huge difference here. Now granted, the crit damage is still fairly high, but I would think that with the ignored defense, we would be seeing a little bit different results. But it seems like things are pretty even. So let's go with the A2. Last time we were at 70 to 80K. And we're at 75 to 85, so maybe a little bit harder. 75 to 85K. A3 up next. Let's replay that. All right, so time for his A3. Last time it was 35 to 50K-ish. And here we go again. 35 to 50. Now we've got 35 to 40-ish. So a little bit less there. 35 to 40K. Keep in mind that, okay, that's pretty solid. Let's go to campaign and finish this out. So far, I'm going to say that I like him a little bit better with the extra crit damage than I do the Savage gear, the ignore defense, All right, guys, so let's go ahead and go back into campaign here. Last time on the A1, it was 40 to 50K. So we got 45 to 45 was the max. So it looked like around 40 to 45K, a little bit less there. On the A2, last time it was 55 to 65. Now it is 49 to 60, a little bit less. And then on the A3, it was 29 to 35. Now we get 28 to 31. So there's no doubt about it. After 3 tests so far, I'll run this one more time. After 3 tests, just slightly better, building with more crit damage and having flawless execution rather than having Helmsmasher and the Savage gear with a chance to ignore all that defense. Let's go again. Here we go. You can see the ignore defense around 33K or so. Let's go on the second wave here and again try this out. So I'm going to go ahead and continue. I don't think Savage gear is useless, especially some champions like Seer. It's been proven she does better with Savage gear. But again, on that A2, I think our highest was 51, or last time it was 65. This one was much less in terms of our highs. And again, we are getting a couple weak hits because of the crit. That's nothing. Don't hold that against him. That's just because of the crit rate. So here we go, 28 to 30K again. That's definitely less. It's definitely less. So guys, that is my takeaway. It's better to build out a AoE nuker, at least in Biggin's case, with a lot of flawless execution, the crit damage, and extra just crit damage and crit rate, having that kind of as high as you can go, versus having Savage gear on these champions, Cruel gear on these champions. Now, I want to be very clear, that could change against bosses. You would prefer War Master. Against Clan Boss, obviously you prefer War Master, even on a champion like this. I think that extra damage would surpass the extra crit damage that you get from like flawless execution. So this is more against arena and kind of dungeon waves and stuff like that. If you're really looking for just damage versus bosses, again, consider War Master. Obviously, if it's a three-hitter, you can consider Giant Slayer as well. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about comparing Flawless and comparing Helmsmasher with Savage. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.